Welcome, everybody, to Hear Her Sports. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Elizabeth Emery. This week, as a special treat, I have two guests on the show, Laelae Amituanai and Hannah Hall, two players from the brand new Youngstown State University women's rugby team. It's currently a club sport, they have big goals, and have been successful so far this first year of real competition. Having both players here on the show turned out to be perfect because one of their mottos is one team, one family. In our conversation, they energetically show their enthusiasm for the sport and for each other. Rugby is all about working together on and off the field. The game seems to be aggressive, which we do talk about, and yet every player I've ever met emotes about love of team, love of sport, love of competitors, and safety on the field. Team President Hannah and freshman recruit Laelae are no exception. In this week's episode, Hannah and Laelae talk about rugby, training, what it means to be aggressive, learning about nutrition, their two coaches and one conditioning trainer, fundraising, what they've learned in rugby, confidence, and what's next for them. You will hear in the episode how important team bonding has been and how that bond has led to such incredible hard work and dedication to the sport. Check out the episode notes to find a link to a documentary film, Into the Scrum, about rugby by Ryan Brown, an artist friend of mine who teaches at Oberlin College. This is the first episode with more than one guest, so I'd love to hear your impressions of our conversation and the format. Send me an email at elizabeth@hearhersports.com. Well, that's enough. Let's get going. Welcome, Hannah and Laelae. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here in this tiny YSU podcast room in the library. Why don't we start by having each of you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started in rugby, how you found rugby.
Awesome. So my name is Laelae Amituanai, and I am currently a freshman at YSU, and I play rugby, and I've been playing ever since my freshman year of high school. And I started playing because my sister she's older than me, and she had started playing, and I just one day joined one of her practices and been playing ever since, and I really liked it, and I enjoyed the sport and the atmosphere and the environment that the other girls bring, and I just really like playing rugby.
That's excellent. So let me ask you, is it unusual that your high school had a rugby team?
Yes. It was actually like a club sport too. So there was like other girls from different counties because like there wasn't enough at just the school. So it opened up for more other girls. And like in the whole state, we only had like 6 teams. So it was like kind of rare to have a girls rugby team anyway. So
was there any distinguishing feature or characteristic of your teammates?
Yeah, a lot of a lot of people would say like girls who play rugby are like super tough and it's like are pretty out there and like have a rebel instinct and whatever. So I guess you could say that that's what made them different, and like they had an outlet and rugby was it, and we all played and had the same goal to be a community and a unit as one.
Well, I'm sure I'll have some more questions about being in high school and playing rugby, but let's get to you, Hannah.
Okay, so currently I'm a junior here at YSU. I came in freshman year, and they didn't actually have rugby the first year I was here. So come sophomore year, I was kind of looking for some way to compete through college, and I found rugby, and they had started up, and I found them on the club sports, and it piqued my interest, so I tried it out, and I loved it, and I'm here now.
Had you been doing sports prior?
Yeah, actually, freshman year I tried out for the track team and had made it on as a walk-on, but the atmosphere I didn't feel was exactly right for me, so I just kept looking and trying new things. And
what did you find on the rugby team that was right?
The culture and the social aspect was really, really great. We all came in looking for something new. You kind of have that adrenaline and want to learn more. Just like whenever you're younger and you start sports at a young age, it's like you get to like relive that, and I felt really good.
Both of you talked about the culture of rugby, and again, I haven't played rugby, so talk to me a little bit about that and what exactly you mean, and specifically what you find in rugby and maybe what you're not finding in other sports.
Mm-hmm. So like for me, playing rugby, like it was brand new to me, even though my sister had been playing, but like being on the field is different because like you have to have like a really close connection with your teammates, and like you really can't play rugby by yourself, and you have to include your teammates and let them know that they like trust them when you are playing, or like trust them to tackle or trust them to do their job and do what they can do on the field. And also like there's a thing called a social after every rugby game. Like, both teams are coming together to just bond, and like, although you're hitting each other on the field, then you can come after and have a social and be regular human beings just sitting there and talking. And like, that's at every single game. After every single game they have a social, so that's what I like about it.
Is that true in college and after college? If you continue playing after college, they have the socials?
Yes.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yes.
Is it also true in men's rugby?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's
even
fascinating.
In both rugby worlds, for women and men. But I've been playing for like a club sport, and I've been in like other tournaments out in Michigan, and they did socials. So
that's really fascinating. And that's so unusual, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
For me, the culture, I think, has to do with the people that sign up and stick with rugby. Again, kind of like reiterating the everybody comes with a certain goal and certain feel. Laelae mentioned like this rebel instinct. I don't know, it kind of group of people with like the same goals, wants, needs. They're all looking for something, and you just find it in rugby. I don't know exactly what it is about rugby. It's just like you fall in love after you pick up that ball or after you make that first tackle, and you like gain this confidence, and all the people around you are kind of doing the same thing. So I don't know, the team environment is just really, really great to be around, and it's kind of addicting, I would say.
Had you played team sports prior to rugby?
Yeah, so through high school I actually played several sports. I even did 2 sports at a time, being soccer and cross country. I also played basketball and track all through high school as well.
So, Hannah, you've been with the YSU rugby team right from the start, and so you've been involved in sort of organizing the team and recruiting and all that. So can you talk about how the team started maybe? And yeah, and maybe a little bit more too about how you got involved.
Yeah, so last year was, again, our first year. We played like a hybrid version of rugby because we didn't have the full amount of players to play a normal 15s. So we played with, I think we had 13 girls. We played 10 on the field. We won our 3 out of the 4 games, which was actually really impressive because starting up, we were really lucky to even be able to be out there on the field. We have 2 coaches as well, which is actually really rare in rugby at our level. A lot of people just have like a paper coach. It's kind of like a babysitter. They give them a paper and they do this workout or they do these drills, and they're not really receiving feedback, only just being told what to do. We are very lucky to have two really great coaches by our side through all of it.
Tell me about your coaches.
Our head coach is Jeff Horton, and he is, this is kind of embarrassing. I don't know a lot about him, but
he's a good man, though.
He is a really good man, and he really knows his stuff. He usually coaches the backs. We also have another coach. Her name's Rebecca Trapp. She facilitates the forwards practice. They both kind of have these different looks at rugby that really benefit us. Each individual brings in, I don't know how to explain it, like what we need. So we're getting everything that we need, and like we're benefiting. Some other, I know, programs don't have what we get, and it's just we're blessed to have that here on our team. Yeah.
Laelae, since you got recruited, tell me a little bit why you chose YSU, particularly since it was such a new program. I mean, you're sort of taking a gamble that it all works out.
Yes, definitely. And well, I'd have to say it was honestly because of Jeff. He was I don't know, the first time I met him, he was very nice and was like really trying to get me to come to YSU, but I had already been committed to another school, and so I was just like, well, this guy's nice. And then I ended up holding the door open for him, like on his way out. And I was like, okay, have a great day. And then he looks at me and was like, wow, thank you. And then later that night, he gets a hold of my contact information and was like, at YSU, we are really looking forward to players that have good character and that are into like rugby and everything, and that like we're here for their compassion for that. And like you just saying thank you and holding the door was what we needed to see, and like we liked that. And I was really impressed about that because it wasn't about my talent, it wasn't about the skill or like how I play on the field, but it was like about me individually and the kind of individual that I am. And I would expect that for the rest of the team, since he is the head coach and that's what he sees in just like one recruit. So that's what I really liked about YSU, and I didn't feel that like the same atmosphere and the same openness with the other team that I had been looking into. And it was just like really amazing how that one action can change like everything.
Has it been
me.
what you expected?
Yes, I really enjoy playing here, and like all the girls are super friendly, and just like I came on a tour and everything, and I just really enjoyed myself, and I met some of the other girls, and I was just like, wow, they're so nice and they're so great, and like they're so positive. And like at the other school that I went to, it wasn't like that. It was just like, oh, I know like you're a good player, you'll do this and you'll be good on the team. And like,
if I jump in real quick,
sure.
Whenever Laelae came, I don't know who had walked past her first, but she was just walking around campus with one other girl on our team, and out of nowhere, we just walk through campus and we pick up like 4 girls just by walking, and we're like, oh my gosh, she's on the rugby team too, like this is Laelae, and we just like kind of gathered almost our whole entire team and just like walked around, and we walked through all of the field houses together, and it was so great seeing her smile, and like we're all having laughs, and I don't know, it just was kind of moving from the very first time we had a recruit come to YSU for rugby. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And you were a pretty slim team before this year, right?
Yeah, we had 13 girls for our first fall semester last year, and then for the spring semester we only had, I think, 8 girls, so we really like kind of lost people. Yeah, we were slim pickings for sure.
And so now you have a full team.
We do. We have a full team. I think our roster is 19 or 20, and 9 of them are recruited freshmen, and they are offered scholarships as well.
Do you see any difference between the people who were recruited and the people who have been here in terms of, the abilities that they bring or don't bring?
Honestly, I think that the only major difference is like their prior knowledge on rugby. It's kind of cool to have some, I don't know, they just feel their flow of the game is really, really good, and really, I don't know, it clicks whenever they brought straight to our team. They kind of just clicked right with us. We only had 1 year of experience prior to them joining with us, but they've already had like 4 to 6 years, some of the girls did. But in competitive atmosphere, I think that we were well versed with college sports. So I think that we really benefited from that first 2 semesters of us playing. And so I think right now we're kind of all at an even ground.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like for me, as coming in as a freshman, we're all in the same boat that we haven't played rugby as one together, and I haven't played on a college level. So it was like really awesome to see like all these other girls that are there to help me, and that although they only had 1 year experience, they were on a higher level than me. So like it was nice to see that we could help each other grow, and like so far it's been a great experience and a good Hannah here, she's like my little she helps me with my rugby and as well, so I like that.
What have you seen as the difference between the high school rugby and the college rugby?
Definitely more commitment and more time consuming, and like for my club sport, it wasn't as serious, and they didn't take it as serious, but we still played the games and the people still showed up to practice, but it wasn't as hard on you, and it wasn't as this is what you have to do. Although it's still a club sport here, you still have to take it more serious and take more of your time to do each activity and do what you have to do to be together as a team and come together as one.
Well, that's a great segue to practices. So talk to me about really specifically what your practices are like and how much you're training and what you're doing maybe off season. So anything that you want to add.
For our practices, we have 2 morning practices that are an hour long, and we do conditioning. It's just solely cardio, kind of working your body, and sometimes we do form work, so making sure that we're doing preventative motions and walkthroughs.
So you don't get injured?
Yeah,
Oh,
we've
that's
been doing
awesome.
that. Yes. She's even making us workouts now, so we can do 4-week plans, which is really great. We're lucky to have her.
Practice and conditioning.
Shout out to Tori.
So she's a special strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, Campus Rec is our facilities, is what we go through. She trains us directly through that, and she makes her own workouts and plans for us, and it's technically open to all club sports, but right now rugby has been the only one to utilize her, so she's been really great and
really focused on us and helps us with all the things. She's like, if we had a hard game the day before, she lets us do yoga.
Yeah, we did yoga. It was nice.
So it was really nice and relaxing, and like all of our bodies were sore, so it was a good push through to get to be able to do that.
Yeah. Outside conditionings, we have 2 days a week that we do just normal rugby stuff. So rugby practice, 2 hours each time we meet. Outside of that, we have recovery days on Sunday. So it's another 2 hours of like more preventative work. We're doing stretching. We're kind of going over film, if that's available to us, and kind of like a rundown of what we're going to be expecting for the week to come.
Cool. That's great. On the field, what are your practices like?
Practices. If our work rate is not right, Jeff will make sure we get ourselves together and we'll start working hard. Like, we did a drill where we had to do repetitive bag hitting, and like we had to go on the ground, pop back up, hit the bag, go down, pop back up, hit another bag, go down, pop back up and hit another bag. And we had to keep doing that until everybody had made sure their work rate was like at 100% or more, and kept on doing it. And that's just like one of the things that we do there. And like,
it's called the gauntlet.
The gauntlet, yes, there we go. And I was like, oh, girls, please. It's a lot of hard work, but like at the end of the day, we're all paying for it, and it was great.
Yeah, we've been in a few articles actually, and our coach really focuses on work rate. You'll see that in almost anything that my coach says. It's work rate, and his other favorite word is continuity. So like we really have to be like with each other, and like that's like the click environment. You know how we just clicked so well together. It's because he's really focused on that continuity aspect. So we're doing reps, we're making sure we're doing things on time and like with each other. It's really important that we do that. Otherwise, we're going to continue doing the drill, and it's, kind of gives everybody a drive to accomplish what they need to be doing.
What's work rate? Do you just mean my effort level?
Yeah, like effort, like how much effort and how willing you are to do things that you're supposed to be doing, and making sure you're doing it 100% all the time. Yeah.
And what positions do each of you play?
I play fullback, and that's basically like they're the last line of defense, and I'm a back, so like I'm considered fast, but I don't know. But I also like to tackle people, so that's why I'm also in the back line, and I'm very important on attack to make sure there's open spaces and get gaps, and then I'd get the ball and run through.
What makes you a good back?
Speed. Yes. Most definitely.
Okay.
I think like reading the field. Yes.
Being able to read the field.
Yeah. I think like forwards, they have this like, they're doing like real fast reps in the middle of the field and making the tackles and being like our big parts. We're the soft parts of the team, and we kind of do like the sneaky little plays in the back, you know. They're doing lots of like the hitting and like the pushing through tackles and stuff. I think that's like the difference.
And you, Hannah?
Yeah, and I'm the scrum half, which is also number 9. A lot of times positions are matched with a number, and that's how you can tell who's playing on what position. So I am like the facilitator of the ball. So I get to like take it out of a tackle that was made. I take it from the person and I facilitate it. I give it to the backs usually, or I'll like decide, hey, it goes to the forwards. That's kind of what I'm doing. Other than that, I'm like communicating. Like that's another major role as scrum half, is like communicating with our forwards and our offensive defense.
And what makes you a good? What are you again? You're a scrum half.
Yeah.
What makes you a good scrum half?
Other than being scrappy, I would say being a good communicator. Like that's the most important. I need to be able to make sure I'm communicating and making the right decisions quick and efficiently.
I also think it's really interesting that you're very small. And I think that's one thing that's really exciting about rugby, is that you don't all have to be the same size and shape.
Yep. Yeah. I actually get that a lot. Every time I mention to somebody, like, I play rugby, and they're like, oh, what? How? I'm like, well, I mean, you don't have to be like a certain body type to play rugby. We have a girl right now. I think that she's right on the line of 5 foot. I'm 5'4.5". But there's girls ranging all the way, like we have a girl that I think is like 6 foot on our team. And obviously she's a forward because she makes those hits. She's good at tackling. But there's always a position on the field, no matter what your size, what your body type or anything like that. And it's amazing because so many other sports out there, you can really tell, like, you can look at people and like tell what sport they're in. And in rugby, you wouldn't guess that they play rugby. You would just, it's like something that's brought up. I don't know. I think it's important.
It's just so versatile that anybody, like, once you get to play, then you're just like really intrigued, like she said in the beginning, that once you start, like, it's just like an addiction and you got to keep going. And like another thing is that it's hard to explain, but until you like get out there and like you start watching or you start playing, then it just like all really clicks and it's all like better.
It's confidence.
Yes.
That's like, and I think rugby, honestly, it has made me more confident as a person playing rugby. And I think that is something to be said about the sport in itself. Yeah.
And that was one question I wanted to ask you, Laelae, is since you played in high school, did you notice sort of increased confidence?
Yeah, for me, like, rugby did give me a lot of more confidence. Like, I actually did not expect myself to be playing rugby this long, because I was just like, okay, it's just a high school thing. And then everybody's like, yeah, I think you should do it in college. I was like, I'm not really sure about that. And then I found it and I just keep going. I keep telling myself, I'll stop. But like, there's something about it that I keep liking it and I keep finding myself wanting to do more. And like, I just really love when I see like other people, like if they have like a rugby shirt and that I don't know, and I'm just like, oh, you play rugby, and I just like find a good connection with that. It just helped me open myself up to like other opportunities. And like, I got to go to other camps out in Michigan because that's where I'm from. And like, I got to go, I was in a tournament that went out into Indiana, and it was just like a really good exposure for me. And like, it helped me meet other people from different teams in my city and in my state. So I really like that about it too.
Do either of you want to answer the question about sort of the difference between the perception of rugby and the reality of rugby? Is it as aggressive and violent as, as it's portrayed?
Actually, me and Hannah were talking about this the other day. She's like, actually, like, when you get on the field, you don't feel yourself being that aggressive. You're just like, it's just kind of the thing that you have to do, and you know how to do it. You know how to tackle, you know how to run hard with the ball, and like, you know how to get hit. So like, when it happens, you don't feel like another thing is like all the adrenaline. So you don't feel like you're being aggressive, but it just looks that way. Like, I know for me, like, my mom was always like upset when I'd get down, and like, she's like, oh my gosh, you hit the ground so hard. And then she's like, oh, but you pop back up. And I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm fine. And then like, she's just like screaming on the sideline, or like thinking that I'm gonna stay down for the whole time. I was like, no, Mom, I gotta keep going. And then she's like, oh my gosh, that's sport. And I was like, no. So that's
it's kind of like you get back up and you shake it off and you just keep going. But I don't know, I think that through phases of rugby, you make a tackle or you get hit so hard and people on the sidelines are like, ooh, or whatever. But honestly, like, that happened to me this last game. I just remember like hitting this huge girl and just bouncing off of her. And I was like, oh, well, that was a failed attempt at a tackle. And I just get back up and I get back in the line, and like, I know what I have to do after there. So I'm like, just next thing, 1, 2, 3, next task, But I think that's like the real thing about rugby as opposed to the perception. So as scrum half, again, with like that confidence thing, I have to be really assertive whenever I'm telling people to move and stuff. So as my job, they call it scrappy. There's other words they like to use in that. But I'm literally like grabbing girls by their jerseys and I'm throwing them into position, because you kind of have to do that in rugby because there's so many things going on. And of course, it's like a really, really great outlet to kind of blow off that steam that you have built up there for, X, Y, and Z reasons. But I don't know, outside of that, it's like, it's really great.
I know, like, for Hannah, like, in the beginning, they're always like, Hannah, you gotta yell, and she's like, oh, I don't want to. And then, like, you get to the game, and she's like, okay, get over there, get on the other side, you're not doing it right. I was like, oh, Hannah, you do know how to yell, but it's just like in practice she won't do it, but she knows how at the game. So I feel like for me, like, aggression was a big thing with me, because I really actually wanted to do boxing, but then my parents were like, no, we want a team sport. So I was like, okay, I'll do rugby, because my sister was already doing it. And then I just like I really enjoyed tackling people. So I guess that aggression helped come out of me, and it was like, okay, that I knew how to do it. It was a safe manner. So like, I was fine with hitting a girl and she being down, and I gotta kept going and like being able to run hard or doing whatever I had to do. So
yeah, even with like the aggression aspect, there is, I won't say there's too aggressive in rugby, but there's like you kind of find yourself being so like, oh my god, I need to be here, I need to be there, and like you're just so focused that you're kind of like you can't hear the people behind you. So like whenever you get to the point of like air quotes too aggressive, it's like you kind of have to find yourself like chill out a little bit, because then you're kind of seeing like, what am I doing, I want to be the one to take this ball always. And that's kind of like good and bad rugby, is like too aggressive, and then just being aggressive as just like it's part of you, you know, and kind of finding that click on click off switch of play. Yeah.
So you guys are in the season now. So how have the games been going? What have you been learning? What do you think?
You can have that one.
It was actually a lot of fun. My first game, I was really nervous, but we ended up winning, and our record is 2-1 right now. And
that's good.
Yes, yes.
Are you pleased?
Yes, we're actually number 17 in the
D2
league
division, I think.
Yeah. And so that was pretty exciting though on the first game. I don't know, I just like getting back on the field with all these girls that I've been practicing with that I didn't know beforehand, and being able to just play with them and like see what everybody's about and like get a feel for like the college level was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of it was very different for me, because like one, it's 80 minutes playing rugby, and in high school I think it was just like 60, so it was 20 minutes more.
That's a big
than
difference.
Usual. Yeah, so it was a lot longer than I expected, and I was like, okay, but gotta keep going. And
yeah, even on my side, like all of us that have continued through last year were returning players. It was really great to see all of the people that we've been practicing with for so long to like finally be put on this field together and like just show them what we had, and kind of we really stood up for ourselves, and it was really great to see that happen so quickly from the very start. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, we're putting in a lot of good time and work right now.
What are your goals for the year?
Our coach, he likes to answer with, we want to win our conference. So our first year being actually invited into our league, he wants us to win or be like as close to winning as possible. Other than that, we're kind of just looking to recruit and broaden the game of rugby, you know, share it with everybody, anyone that we can, especially women's rugby. It's important it's really important, because people are so turned off from that, like thinking it's too aggressive for them.
Is it realistic, winning the conference?
Our coach thinks it is, and because he thinks it is, of course I think it is possible.
It's most definitely
possible, as long as we just stay confident in ourselves and as a team, you know. It's our continuity needs to be really great.
So what are you guys working on between now and when are they playoffs?
Yes. We're just putting
Working
in
on more
reps.
and
we're kind of facilitating plays. We had, for our first 3 games, we had like a normal set of plays that we've been running, but now he's added and switched plays, taken other plays out, seeing what's working. So we're getting into the flow of like where we should be. So hopefully.
And I think also with like being able to play 3 games in now, so we know like other people's and other players' assets and skills, and we're going to utilize that and be able to hit them hard with that, and be able to do good things with our assets that we have now, and be able to go hard in the field. Yeah,
and I've been saying personally, like we want to play real rugby the right way, as in like we're making effective tackles and we're making those plays like perfect from the beginning, you know. We don't want to like mess up too many times. That's why we're doing so many reps, and so we're learning how to safely tackle, we're learning how to safely be tackled, which is also another important thing, and how we as people that are carrying the ball can facilitate where we want to be as soon as a tackle is made. And I think that fine-tuning those things are really what makes you a successful rugby player in the end.
And are you each individually working on weaknesses?
Yes.
Always.
For me, I specifically want to get faster. Like, there's no problem with being fast, but being faster is going to help a lot as being a fullback, and also with being able to truck big girls as I'm running hard. And another individual goal of mine is to become a mentor for other girls through rugby, and if help them see that they can come and play, they don't have to be scared, and that it's a good environment like how I found it, and I really enjoy myself and enjoy the person who I am when I'm playing and everything like that.
Well, I think that for me, I'm doing better with communicating, but I always could be better at communicating. I'd say making quicker decisions, but also them being the right decision. So not just making that quick decision, but acknowledging that it's the right decision and when and how to do it. So I think that is where I need to focus on.
You talked about recruiting, and sometimes it can be difficult to recruit women. What kind of issues are you fighting against?
Well, as a returning player, it's kind of hard to find those the people that are going to be there through all of it, through all of the hard days, all of those training, all of the losses, that grind of getting those people in. I can't remember what our coach says, but it's 20% of the people are usually how many people that you get to stay. So you can recruit 100 people, only getting 20 people to come back, and then after that it's another slim pickings through those people that stay. So it is really hard to find those girls that are aggressive, are wanting to put in this much work, because we have so many conditioning days and so many practice times. It's just hard for us to find the right ones, and I think that's our hardest trouble right now.
I agree, and I'd also say that recruiting people and telling them, they're always oh, what's rugby? And then you explain to them, oh, you gotta tackle, you gotta do this. They're oh, I'm scared, I don't know, I don't want to do that. And then I'm just well, you learn how to tackle, you learn how to fall, you learn how to do all these things that prevent from any injury or anything bad to happen. So then they get turned off quickly, but then you gotta, like she said, you gotta keep on picking and choosing who do you think would like this. But I think really listening to what rugby is, I would be turned off too, and I don't want to do that. But once you get into it and actually come to a practice or come to a game or come to something to involve yourself in the actual sport, anything, it would help more than just listening to someone say you tackle a girl and then that's about it, and you don't have any pads or protection. So you're basically just going out there free will, but no, we actually help you and teach you how to do it, so you're not gonna die, you're not gonna get too hurt, and you won't feel it until after the game or after practice. So that's how I feel about recruiting. It is hard, but you also you also gotta, I feel it's all in the approach, and if you just come off oh yeah, it's a hard sport, then they're just gonna be really scared, or I don't want to do that, I don't know what you're talking about, I never heard this before. And that's for my high school team, that's a lot of things that the girls are saying. They're I've never heard of it before, I don't want to try it, or it sounds too aggressive, I'm not sure, it sounds too tough, and things like that. But it really, you really just gotta apply yourself to it.
Yeah. Coach Trapp likes to say the easiest way to get better at rugby is to watch rugby. So what we would tell the girls is, you don't have to jump into a practice right from the beginning. It's come and watch us, come and see us play, come and watch us practice, whatever you gotta do in order to get them at least interested. It's hard to get somebody to want to come out and just watch, because they feel weird on the sideline, But other than that, I think really watching is the important part. And that's how we get people to stay. The people that do watch and the people that do oh my gosh, this is so cool. I've even had a girl talk to me saying that she's always wanted to play football, and she's there's never anywhere I could play it, and my family didn't really like it as an option, but I see rugby and it's it's big here, and you guys are doing so well, and I would really like to come try out. So we might have somebody coming in that I'm already recruiting. Yes. And she actually reached me, and I was oh, who's this? And it's just really great, because we're getting our name out there, and that's what it means, is we're being noticed, we're finding people, they're finding us. It's amazing seeing how this process works, because we're reaching so many people with how we're networking and communicating right now.
How's the support at school at Youngstown State?
Right now, we actually have a partnership with Adidas and the World Rugby Shop, which is really great. We have nice uniforms, so we look so fancy.
Your uniforms are nice.
Oh, it's so great. And we have
practice jerseys.
We have practice jerseys and shorts and pants. And my book bag is like, it says "Why Rugby" on it. And I'm walking around, and people are like, "Oh, wait, we have a rugby team at YSU," and it's like, "Well, technically we're a club sport, but we have it here. And if you're interested to even." Like, a lot of the guys will come up and like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know we had rugby." Like, yes, tell your friends, come see us. Like, oh my gosh, it's free. It's the best thing you can do. Like, on a college budget, it's free and it's fun. So we have a lot of support from a lot of people. At least I know, and like my business college, so many people know about it. They come up to me and ask me after the press conference, literally like 20 minutes after it was like advertised out, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're the rugby president." I was like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like in my sweats, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, it's really fun to like have people actually acknowledge us, and people from other sports, or like actual varsity sports here at YSU, are also starting to notice us, like the track team and the football team, and even like the hockey club team. They're pretty big. They're not varsity, but they're big enough to like be fancy and stuff.
Yes.
So it's kind of impressive at this level that we're kind of reaching. But right now it's students running the organization, and we're lucky to have a coach, and he does a lot of like the administrating and the coaching stuff. He contacts people to play games and stuff. That's really what he does. But on the flip side, we have an e-board, president, secretary, treasurer, vice president. We're doing so many things behind the scenes. We're doing everything that would be easy for other people to do if they were at a varsity level. Yeah.
You have to raise your own funds?
Yeah, we have to like raise our own funds. We actually have to do volunteer work and stuff. We have to find our own sponsors. We have to do so many steps that like other varsity sports don't have to do, because they have people to do those jobs, like from hired by the university and stuff.
That sounds like just adding another layer to doing a college sport.
The fundraising?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. And, like, again, like, that's why it's, like, so hard to get people to stay. It's because you're doing so much more work than you really think that you're supposed to be doing. And, yeah.
Are either of you having trouble sort of getting schoolwork done and going through practices?
I did at first because I didn't know how I'd balance it. And, like, I was new to rugby, so I wanted to focus more on rugby first, but then I reminded myself that I'm a student before I'm an athlete. And I had to get my schoolwork done, and I had to make sure I was there on time, and I applied myself to all my classes and studied first. And Jeff is even okay if you like need to do your homework at practice, or you need to study, or you need to stay in at your place to like study for an exam or take time off and be able to do that. So that's good too. Yeah,
it's not preferred, but
yeah,
it happens because we want you to stay with us. And obviously if you're so overwhelmed with like doing all of these things, he wants rugby to be as easy and as like something that you want to come and do, not like you have to come and do it. So like I think that's why he like makes those exceptions whenever things get really hard and really tough. But other than that, it's like me personally, since I'm the president of the club, I have to attend meetings and make sure paperwork's in and all of the forms are completed and in a timely manner. I also work 2 jobs outside of rugby, and then in classes. I know, it's kind of crazy, and but when it comes down to it, I do it because I love it and it's really fun. And I kind of sound dramatic saying I love it so much, but because I've only been playing it for a year, but it's like, I don't know, it just feels so right being here and doing all of this stuff and all of this work. It feels like it's the right thing to do, and I want to do it.
What are your long-term goals, personally?
For rugby, or?
Any way you want to answer. 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Oh,
2
the
years
5-year
from now.
thing. Okay. Well, I hope that I graduate.
You will.
In May of 2020. That is my goal. Tressel told me to make it my goal. Tressel is the president of YSU, and whenever he tells you something, you gotta listen.
Do it.
So I hope to be out of here by then. Rugby wise, I would love to continue to play, and I know that wherever I go, there's rugby. So if I were to take that route, I know that my coach Trap, she is really versed and knows so many people all around the U.S. wherever I go. She has like connections, and I don't know. It's always like a friendly environment, so I know it'll be easy wherever I go.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying advertising and public relations, and it's a business major at YSU. Hopefully, I need an internship, so I don't quite know which part of advertising or public relations that I want to get into yet. I just know that I want to do it.
Do you want to stay in the area?
No, I don't want to stay in the area.
Where do you want to go?
Honestly, I've always kind of had this, like, I've always wanted to go to a city. I don't know quite which city that I want to go to yet, whether it be East Coast, West Coast, like middle of nowhere, I don't know. But I know that it's definitely the city place is the place to be, especially as an advertiser. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you why you were like, no, I don't want to stay here?
Not Ohio.
Well, so I'm like from Ohio. I have family that is like on the edge, very eastern part of Ohio, and I feel like we've been stuck there for so long. And I have family right on the edge of PA, Western PA, and there's like this like fine circle of like 30 miles that my entire family lives, and I want to like leave that bubble, you know, kind of be the one that kind of like does it. And I'm like the first one in my family, in my direct family, I would say, other than one of my aunts who has attended college, you know. So I kind of have this like big dream of like going somewhere fancy or somewhere like I can make it, you know. And I just want to finally have that feel of being thrown into a big city and kind of like doing it all immediately, you know.
I think that's really cool. You know, one thing that I didn't mention earlier was when you were talking about aggression and all that kind of stuff, that a word that I really like lately is adventure.
Yes,
and that's what
perfect.
You guys
Adventure.
Like.
That is
very adventurous.
Yes, that's exactly. I don't know. That's the word that I was looking for.
Yeah. I'm a business major as well in human resource management, and my long-term goal is to graduate 2022, and after that, find a good job. And I don't really know where I want to go from there, but I do know that a long-term goal through rugby, I want to play overseas for rugby and maybe for the Black Ferns one day, hopefully. But I got to train hard enough and keep focus on that, and that's a hard goal for me.
Keep doing those Broncos.
I'm gonna keep doing it and trying to. So that's where I stand with it. But I'd want to get out of Ohio too. And I was from Michigan.
You're from Michigan.
I'm from Michigan. Yeah, I'm from Michigan, and like I didn't even like it there. So I was like, yeah, I want to go to a city. And then they're like Youngstown. I was like, interesting. And
you're gonna have that bumper sticker plastered on there. It's gonna say "Stuck in Ohio,"
and I'm gonna definitely be stuck in Ohio.
I mean, it's not a bad place to be. It's just like you feel comfort whenever you come to Ohio. You feel like you're in like such a deep pocket that you can't leave. And like, you know, I want to just like, here comes the sun,
and just want to be free. Yeah, that's how I feel too. Ohio is a good place to stay for a while, but then you got to go somewhere else to
otherwise you're gonna be stuck in a comfort zone and you're never gonna want to leave. It's like the friend zone.
Oh
no. Sorry. Jokes.
What gave you the get up and go or whatever it is to want to go to college?
Okay, well, I have a twin sister, and it's kind of been like not necessarily a competitive life between us, but we've always kind of just been like bouncing off each other for our entire lives, and like we've always had these like, she wanted to go here and like do all of these great things, and I was never able to like do the great things my sister did, because she was always like the adventurous, the social butterfly. If you would have saw me like 3 years ago, I could not talk to you like this. Like, no way. Something happened, I think, right before my senior year, and I said, all right, I guess I do really want to go to college, and I really do want to see where I can go and take my skills somewhere else and kind of find where I was meant to be. And I totally had figured that as soon as I made the choice to come to college, that's it. And like once I've done that, the next step is like, where else can I go? And like find another place that I will succeed in being.
I want to go back a little bit to training. Do you do weightlifting, you guys?
No.
Not as like a team thing, but it's mostly on your own, and if you can, then go ahead and do it. But Tori did give us a set workout to do, and
she just gave us like a 4-week program kind of thing that we can go outside of practice and conditioning to do, because we aren't given like a workout room. We have access to the campus rec, which is like open to everyone who's a student at YSU and professors. But we kind of focus on like body weight stuff, like form. Cardio is a really big thing, because we need to like be able to run. And in practice, you're not like doing as much running as you should be through the week, because again, it's an 80-minute game and you need to be able to run. So that's why we're doing it through conditioning. We're doing those kinds of things through that. But it's fun because a couple people kind of like partner up with somebody and they'll go to the gym together. Someone's who's the kind of like their weight, set abilities. It's kind of like a fun match whenever you find that person and like kind of just go and do it.
What will you do during off season, and will it be part of the team or will it be individual?
So through the school year, we actually we're going to be on season through fall and spring semester. So there's never going to be technically an off season for us, which we're kind of lucky for. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with it, because you're just putting the work in through the entire year.
Will you have games in the spring also?
Yeah, I think it'll be 7s, so it's going to be like a
shorter team.
Yeah.
Shorter team or smaller.
So now
teams.
you're doing 15s.
Yeah. Right now we're doing 15s.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that typical? 15s in the fall and 7s in the spring?
For men, it's different. It's the other way around. But for girls, I'm pretty sure it's the same, because that's how it was at my high school. That 15s were in the fall and then 7s in the springtime.
Oh,
and then
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And will I interrupted you, but will some girls leave the team for the spring, or everybody will stay on? And
I really hope that people don't leave us in the spring. That would be really sad. But it's good to have as many numbers as we can, because in the springtime, whenever you're playing a 7s match, it's still only 2 halves, but each half is only 7 minutes. So you're only playing a 14-minute game, and you're not playing just one game. It tends to be like 3 games, sometimes more than that. So it's still good to have all of those numbers. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
But different abilities are needed for the 15s and the 7s, right? It's a faster game.
Yeah, 7s is kind of a faster game.
Yeah.
But I would say 15s is a more strategic game, because it's fun whenever you get a 7s team that's all forwards versus a 7 team that's all backs. It's kind of fun to watch. But
it's a lot more work on the 7s team, because everybody has to know how to do everything, because you never know when you're going to get thrown into this position or not. Because like when I played 7s over the summer, I had to do a forward position, which I was not ready for, and I'm a back and I've only played back all years, and then they were like, okay, you can be a forward for a 7s. I was like, I've never done this, but they're like, well, you're going to learn, because everybody on the 7s team is going to learn how to do everything, so that helps to be more versed in different things for 15s as well. Like 15s, you're more set to do just one position, or just to do a forward job, or just to be a back job. So it's a lot faster pace as a 7s game than it is a 15s.
How much do you guys work on strategy, and how much does Jeff talk to you about strategy?
We do strategy a lot. We end up breaking up through practice, and we split the backs and the forwards, and it kind of gives us like a well-immersed kind of like what we're doing. He actually gave us a strategy guide that he put together himself, and so we went out and learned those.
Are they set plays?
Yeah, but we have actually just 3 games, and we just like altered some of them, kind of seeing what was working, what wasn't working.
Sure.
And I think that's really beneficial to have. But every practice we're doing strategy.
Does Jeff, do you have a sort of a strategic philosophy?
A strategic, what do you mean?
I have no idea. But it seems like, a team could have certain characteristics that made, like, if your team is really fast, then your strategy would be to be about speed, or if your team was really big, or something like that.
Kenya, maybe.
That's secret.
Okay.
We have a secret stuff that we're doing.
Don't reveal that.
But so our strategy is pretty much like when a forward gets the ball, the next play usually goes to the backs. That's like the only like real strategy that we kind of continuously will implement. But the reality of it is like it doesn't always happen that way. But Strategy wise, it's pretty much just
hitting
their hard or hitting their soft parts with our hard parts. So like as long as we're confident and we're moving fast and we're running hard and on the ball all the time, we're definitely gonna hit some soft parts of theirs with our hard parts, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be eye opening. Yep.
And who is doing the strategy? Is that you, or is it Jeff calling from the sideline?
So typically, would you say that rugby coaches don't necessarily make the decisions,
right?
Like from the sideline. So they're kind of the ones that are after the game. They're helping, and they're kind of like noticing like whenever somebody needs to be out or somebody needs to be put in the game. Sometimes you'll hear him calling something like that we're not seeing, but that hardly happens. For me, I'm doing a lot of the
play calling.
So we have a fly half who is, whenever I take the ball out of like the tackle, it's called a ruck. I'm gonna say it's whenever I take it out of the ruck, after it's presented to me, I will pass it to my fly half, and they're the person that is calling the plays for the backs. So she is the one that's like kind of telling the players what play that they're running. I'm just deciding on if it's going to her or if it's going to go to a forward that's set up to my hip or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like kind of like the two of us that are communicating with what plays are going on.
And Laelae, what do you think about when you're thinking about strategy? Or do you, in your position, are you having to think about strategy?
Tracking. That's what I have to do. Like,
what's that?
Where you have to know where the ball is going to be at, where is it going. If it's on your side or like the other team has it, then you want to make sure like, because since I'm all the way in the back of the field, I want to make sure like people are in their position enough to like block them or like get the tackle or cover the gaps in the space where it needs to be. So like I'm usually the one like reading the field when they're like telling the plays, and like if the ball is out, then I want to make sure that I'm following where the ball is going, or like who's it going to on the end, and I want to make sure like somebody's over on the end to cover it, or like yelling out like somebody get there, or like come over there, like Hannah, they need help over here, or like saying like making sure people are in like their position on the field. And
yeah, and we're really lucky to have Laelae because she is so good at reading the field. Like things that me as a scrum half and my fly half maybe haven't noticed, or other players that we aren't hearing what we're saying, she's the one that's communicating to them. And like it's really great to have Laelae because she does a really good job at fullback. It's just like really great to see somebody who has like this broad view of it all, and she's kind of like the Eagles view.
So
eagle's eye, yeah.
So you're good at knowing where all the players are and where the ball is, all in your head.
Yes. Well, I have to like, I usually like step a lot back, and like I'm really a lot further behind, and I'm deep from wherever like they may be. They might be like up 10 yards than I am, and I'm back like looking at the whole field so I can see the other team too along with my team, and see like from sideline to sideline who's where and that. So
yeah, making sure none of us get tunnel vision.
Yeah. So we don't play pee-wee soccer and that we're nice and spread out.
Yeah.
That's
That's funny. So I always like to ask about nutrition. So do you guys pay attention to nutrition? Sounds like maybe no.
But Jeff likes to tell us to eat healthy, and I'm not sure if many of us follow it, but I know I got like bruised really badly, and they're like, "Are you eating bananas?" I was like, "Huh? Are you eating potatoes?" I said, "What kind of potatoes?" I was like, "Does fries count?" They're like, "Oh my gosh." And so like I guess nutrition isn't like a big hard thing on us, but like it's good if we do start eating healthy, and so we don't like have a set plan or anything. So
I think
yeah.
I don't know. He makes sure he does really grind us on staying hydrated. Like that is something that he will actually send us like a group message and say, make sure you guys are hydrated, otherwise, you know, bad things are gonna happen. And it's happened like I think every game he met. The day before, he will message us, like, and even days prior to games and practices, he will like continuously remind us that hydrating is important. For the nutrition aspect, we kind of learn at some point that you need to start taking care of your body, whether it being eating more food, eating better food, eating less food. I don't know. You're gonna figure that out once you start throwing up at practices and games and stuff. So it's kind of like a, well, if you don't listen to what we have to tell you, you're going to figure it out one day. Yeah.
And We learned that the hard way. Me and many other teammates decided to go to Chipotle before practice. And we're just like, oh, well, that's not going to go well. And it really didn't, because after practice, I really had to use the bathroom. So I was like dying. I was like, I'm not going to do it in the middle. I'm not going to do it in the middle. But so note to self, do not go to Chipotle before practice.
Yeah. See, I told you, it's like you learn. It's a learning experience.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, but is there anything before we wrap up that I didn't get to?
Oh, I will say that one of our mottos through every practice, every game, Coach Trapp likes to say, classy, not trashy. It's her favorite thing to say, and we like to implement that on field, off the field, when we're not playing, when we're not doing things rugby involved. And it literally, it's plain out there, like classy, not trashy. It's don't do things that are dumb. Don't do things that are stupid. Present yourself as if you're always aiming for maybe not professionalism, but like something sort of like that. You're always presenting your best self. I think that having good character on our team, like Laelae has previously talked about, it's like we want to be the best people, that we want other people to look at us and like acknowledge how well represented we are, how diverse we are, how like we follow the rules. We don't break the rules. We like to make sure how we play is safe. We like to make sure anybody that we're playing against is also kind of reiterating on being safe, like we want to give what we can give and hopefully receive benefits by doing that. Yeah.
And I'd like to say, along with being diverse and everything, that we also have another saying on the team is one team, one family.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning, like, all of us are one, and all of us are, although we are a team, at the same time we are family and we are friends, and that a lot of us are like really good friends outside of rugby. Like we meet in study sessions and we all have a group chat and say like, oh, who's going to Dunkin' or who's going to Chick-fil-A. So it's like a really good way to show that, like, yeah, maybe we play together, but at the same time we can just like sit and have a regular conversation, not about rugby, just about like our lives and just about being a family, really. And just like that's a good support system to have through college and like through YSU. And so like I'm just really thankful that I'm able to be a part of that here, especially. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, we didn't talk at all about diversity and inclusion, and rugby seems particularly good at that.
Oh, yeah. It really is.
Definitely is.
For sure.
Definitely. Because like she said, we have like so many different sizes. Like people might be intimidated. We have like a girl that's like 4'9" or like barely
she's
pushing
like barely 5 foot, and she's a fireball.
She is a fireball. She's a beast, and like she's super fast, and you might be like scared to tackle her, but she's a hard one to take down at the same time. Or like we have another girl that's like really tall and really big, and like
we have like two or three.
So, and they're all
shout out to them.
Yes, shout out to them, or playmakers.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's like another thing. Like you don't have to be, like she was saying earlier, you don't have to be a specific body type or a specific anything. You just come as you are, and we'll use your skills to your advantage. And
actually, after one of our first games, one of the girls had said, oh my gosh, thank you for being part of our team. She like spoke out. She's like, wow, it's like it's been really great to like have all of our new people playing with all of our old people or like grandmas playing. But she had said it in such a way that everybody that is playing their position is bringing something unique and something that we need, that maybe somebody else on the team doesn't necessarily have or utilize as well as they should be. And it's like we all are benefiting each other by working on those things like individually. We have like all walks of everything on our team. And like in not even just on our team, but in rugby in general. Even
the LGBT community on our team, just to put that out there. We're honestly just like a big family. Like like seeing the girls, like we have Snapchat group chat together, and like if we see another girl, we'll like videotape them or like
we
come
do,
up
like,
to them or like
sniping Snapchats where like we zoom in as far as we can if we see them walking around. And it's just really fun because we all like to laugh and joke around, and we we aren't judgy. No one on our team is judgy. No one on our team has a clique. Everybody like is friends with each other, and like you can even tell that. Like at first I was like, oh, this person doesn't hang out with me as much as they hang out with. That doesn't even matter. Like we're all so, I don't even know. It's just like such a great bond. Yeah. I'm so excited because like having such a small team from last year to having like this many people on your team and having friends, and I don't know. It really is like one team, one family. Yeah. Like quite literally.
Very much. And like another thing is like it doesn't even matter that like if I've played longer than Hannah or like somebody else that's also like brand new to the sport that has never even played, like they're all treated the same and they're all treated on the same level. And like one of the other girls on the team who's like our vice captain, and she's never played rugby before and never like even touched a rugby ball before, and like she's just really good and she's a beast too. Yeah. And she just like stepped out on the field and like we told her the basics and she just like learned it and loved it, and she's still playing and she still really likes it. And so that's like same with many of the other girls that are just like a walk on and just like didn't expect to keep on coming back, but they are, and it's just like a really good environment, and like they're still like family to us too, even though they just like came on the field. That it's just like all the same.
I love hearing that. And, you know, I'm a big believer of it starts from the top. So Jeff must be a really great coach.
Oh my gosh, Jeff is probably, we are so lucky to have Jeff. Wow.
He's all types of wonderful. And
yeah, for sure. He hooked us up with a lot of like good things coming into this year, I think. Like he last year was like our stepping stone to like our real start to this year, and you can even see like the difference in like last year to this year. Everything goes so much smoother than it did last year. Everything is kind of like falling into place perfectly. Like the puzzle has been complete. Like we're here, we're ready, and Jeff did that for us, and we're really thankful for him.
You've had coaches in high school, so how does Jeff differ, and like what do you think that he's doing that is so successful?
For me and my coach in high school, it was only like a volunteer, and he was like a coach. He was like a dad for one of the girls, so he didn't play rugby himself, so which was like many of the other coaches out there, they didn't really play, but they knew like the daughter who played, and they had like somebody else that they knew, so they knew of the sport, but they hadn't like had their own experience. And I think that's really great that like Jeff has his own experience and that he's been in so many other tournaments that he can spend his knowledge. And like same with Trap too, like that she has been playing for years. Has she been playing? She's been playing. She's really been playing in like different countries too, and she helps bring her knowledge out and like her rugby experiences out. And I think that's like the biggest difference is that like their experiences help us grow and help us know like, oh, don't do that, because like he's been through that. Like he said one time about playing positions, how he wanted to be a forward, but then they ended up making him a back, and then he didn't realize how much like being a back was so much more fun than being a forward, and he didn't know that until like his coach put him there. And so like just like trust his opinion and trust what he has to say for us. Same goes for Trap too. Yeah.
So we have a girl who is a forward. She is a prop, I think. She has played high school rugby. She had played through high school. She did not score in high school, and in her second game of playing for our team, she had scored. And our coach was so tremendously happy about that, Coach Trapp, because in high school they only go to a certain level. Like they can only give you so much. And because of how experienced both of our coaches are, they're taking us further. And like it was just amazing to see, because again, she had never ever scored, not once, and like in her second game she had scored. And it's quite literally like amazing that happened because of how good our coaching staff is.
I can agree.
Cool. Well, thank you both, Hannah and Laelae, for being here. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I know you guys are busy, so thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes. It's a wonderful opportunity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Thanks again to this week's two super guests, Hannah Hall and Laelae Amituanai. Thanks to you for listening. Hear Her Sports was started to increase media coverage of female athletes and women in sport. 44% of athletes are women, and only 4% of sports media coverage is about women. That's not a number, it's a rounding error. Tell your friends about the podcast and about fantastic, strong women speaking up and doing amazing things. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts or any podcast player, subscribe to the Hear Her Sports newsletter, or donate on hearhersports.com and encourage others to do the same. As women, we're all going to benefit from spreading the word and speaking up. Women in general, you, me, and my inspiring guests. A big thank you to sponsors Agnes, the band Goldmines, the blog She Rides a Bike, and Leap Strategies for super support and partnership. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Hey there, my name is Michael Laminato, and this is Pit Pass F1, a brand new podcast that'll take you closer to the action of the world's most prestigious motorsport. From Monaco to Miami and Australia to Azerbaijan, Pit Pass F1 is on the ground and has you covered. Esteemed F1 journalists Julianne Cerasoli and Chris Medland will take you inside the sport every round. They'll keep you up to date with the latest news breaking in Formula One and the most influential views shaping the world of Grand Prix racing. Every Friday, we'll be bringing you a track guide and race preview, and Chris and Ju will be in your feed every morning from Saturday through to Monday to keep you up to date on all the day's action on and off the track. So if you want to be in the know on the latest in Formula One, subscribe wherever you get your favourite podcasts and visit us at evergreenpodcasts.com. Pit Pass F1, a brand new show for Evergreen Podcasts.